Hi, I'm so glad to see you. I'm so happy to be here with you today. This is Miss Simpson. Welcome to art class. I'm super excited to work with you today on a color wheel, which is made up of shapes. It's going to be really fun. So we're going to combine two of the really important elements of art, shape and color, together to make a color wheel. A color wheel is just a way of organizing colors so we can figure out how to make different colors or, what they're made up of. So a lot of the time color wheels have like little labels for the colors, but they don't have to. You can have a color wheel without that too. We're going to work on mixing the primary colors today, or talk about the primary colors, and then the secondary colors. There are other colors in here though too. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but do you know what the primary colors are? Let's figure that out first. There are 3 different primary colors. Can you tell me what one of them is? You got it, red. Absolutely. Okay, there's another one that's really important. Yellow, absolutely, you got that right. And then there's the third one. What's the third primary color? Blue. You have it right. Absolutely, good work. So if we mix the primary colors together, we get something called secondary colors. So what would happen if I mixed red and yellow together? Do you know what would happen? Hey, that's right. You get orange. Yeah, so red plus yellow equals orange. Yeah, you got it. What if I mixed yellow and blue together? What would happen? Green, good work. And then what if I mixed blue and red together? What would happen then? I would get violet. You were right, violet or purple. So if you mix the primary colors together, you get something called secondary colors, which are in the middle of the primary colors. But if you mix the primary and the secondary, the primary and the secondary color together, you get something called the tertiary color. And that's all these other colors in between, like turquoise and, blue, violet, and all kinds of other beautiful colors, yellow, green. But we're not going to work on that today. We're just going to work on the primary colors and the secondary colors in our color wheel, which will be made up of shapes. So here's an example of a color wheel that has mostly geometric shapes and one organic shape. We talked about this last week too when we were talking about making food out of shapes. Geometric shapes are shapes that you find in math. A lot of the time they have straight edges, or like if it's a perfectly round circle, that would be a geometric shape. A lot of the time circles aren't totally perfectly round, like maybe it's kind of an oval like the shape of an egg. That would be an organic shape because that's found in nature. Other geometric shapes are triangles, star shapes, rectangles, squares, parallelograms. There's all kinds of different shapes you find in math. Organic shapes, though, can be anything from nature, like a cloud, or broccoli, or an apple, or your cat. All kinds of different things can be organic shapes. Pretty much anything that you can think of from nature can be an organic shape. And your color wheel can be made up of a lot of geometric shapes. It could be made up of all different kinds of triangles, and it could also be made up of all different kinds of organic shapes. That is up to you. It doesn't matter at all. You get to pick. So we're going to figure out how to make the color wheel, and you're going to need, for this project, you're going to need a piece of blank white paper. Any kind of blank white paper will work. You're going to need a pencil and an eraser and some coloring materials. Make sure you have all of the colors in your coloring materials because we're going to use those colors to make the color wheel. So you could use markers, you could use crayons, you could use colored pencils, whatever you have on hand will totally work. And this is a really cool project because you can figure out how, if later on you only had a yellow and a blue colored pencil, how would you make green? Well, you could overlap the 2 colors. Super cool. We're just going to use the materials that we have today, so you don't have to mix them together, but it's a really good way of figuring out how to do that. If you just had, 3 colors of paint, the primary colors, you could make all of the different colors that you could think of. All right, are you ready? Let's get to work. How would you like to combine your shapes and your colors to make a color wheel using shapes that you choose? What do you think you're going to do? This is totally up to you. You can choose anything you want. Okay, so let's get our blank piece of paper ready to go. And I want you to try to take up as much of your paper as you can, kind of like this. Like use a lot of that paper because you've got a big old piece of paper. So you don't need to make this small. And your choices will be different than mine, I think, but you can also do the same, choose the same thing as me if you want to. We need 6 shapes, so we're going to make 6 choices. I'm going to think about the primary colors first. So I'm going to think about red, yellow, and blue first. And then in between those colors, I'm going to put the secondary colors. So orange would be here. And you can have any kind of shapes that you want. That's totally up to you. You can of course choose the same ones as me if you want to, but you get to choose. It's hard to choose shapes because there's so many cool shapes in the world. I guess I'm choosing a lot of geometric shapes with mine. That's not super geometric circle, but it doesn't actually matter if the lines are straight too. And if you want them to be straight, you can use a ruler if you want. Make sure you pause the video to catch up when you need to catch up too. Okay, so now I have 6 shapes. I've selected 6 shapes. And so my next job will be to color those in order of the color wheel. So we're gonna start, let's just start with red. A lot of the time people start with red when they're doing color wheels. And when you say the color wheel, sometimes you say to remember which the order in which the colors are organized. Some people say Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. So I'm going to use colored pencils today. Well, actually, let's see. I want to use markers because I did colored pencils for my example. So let's mix it up a little bit, have some fun. So your choice is up to you, just whatever you want to do. I feel like I've been using colored pencils a lot lately. My red is kind of dried out, but that's okay. So I'm going to color in my red shape first, and then I'm going to do my orange shape, and then I'm going to finish up. Remember the order goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. Okay, let's get to work. Awesome work. You're doing such a great job. So if you want to label the colors, you totally can. That's up to you. You don't have to, but I think it's sometimes really fun to do that. So let's also figure out which are the primary colors. And if you write in the colors on there, sometimes it's helpful to write that down too. So I like to write primary somewhere on there. And then you can maybe put arrows to that part, or you could write primary next to the primary colors. That's helpful and fun. So keep on working on this until you're done, okay? You're doing such a great job. Awesome work. Remember, your shapes are up to you. The color wheel goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple, or violet. Great work. Thank you so much for all of your hard work today. You did such a great job. I really appreciate your work and your focus on this. Your color wheel looks amazing. I'm so excited that you used your imagination and you organized those colors and you picked all those shapes that you picked. Awesome work. I'm really excited to work with you soon again too, and I hope the rest of your day is wonderful.